Hey there, everyone. Welcome to Breakbeat Torture Trio 3. Today we are going to talk about layering. So first, breakbeat of the day is from Black Sabbath. I love this one when it's pitched up. There's already a bit of rearranging going on here. So first thing we need to do. As you can see, there is a lot of weird stereo elements to this breakbeat, and sometimes it's easier to just work in mono for this. So use an utility from live here and just switch it to mono. First thing, as you can hear, there's not much bass inside this break. It's quite usual with vintage breakbeats like this. I guess the first thing you might want to do is to add bass using an equalizer. So let's try and let's hear how it sounds. As you can see, the bass is so high already that trying to add to it will just add unwanted low mid frequencies. So what I do most of the time, even when there is already enough bass in the breakbeats, is that I tend to cut them and use an electronic full, very bassy kick drum to go at the same time as the breakbeat kick drums. So I'm going to use my dual Borg sample pack that I made for Concrete Collage. It's free, you can go download it whenever you want. I'll put the link in the description. So let's hear it. Okay. Now I'm going to put this on top of each of the kick drums that I want to emphasize. One of the new cool features with Ableton 11 is that you can randomize the velocity directly from the piano roll. Using control and dragging up and down, so it will play in between those possible velocity. I'll leave it at full here. So let's do the same thing with the snare. So I have one snare that I use all the time. It sounds a little bit like a 808 snare. I think it comes from the peak module for Mutable Instruments. I have worked with it with a few filters, then recorded it and made this little kit out of it. It's really good and easy to process, to fit with basically any material. Okay, let's do the same thing. Put this on every snare that we want to emphasize. Add a little bit of randomness to this one. Let's add some bass to this kick drum here. I'm not going to do it fancy, I'm just going to use the filter over here. High pass plus resonance. Equal bass boost. So you have to match the volume so nothing stands out too much. The goal here is really to emphasize the breakbeats, not to overcome it with other sounds. If I mute those two elements I added, Sounds super weak. Now I'm going to duplicate this and make a few edits. I'll skip this part because it will be boring, so let's hear what I've done. Okay, so now let's take an example of why we would want to duplicate the breakbeat track and add another layer of breakbeats. Here I added a little stretch, but while the sound is stretching, we lose this little roll here. So there is two ways of looking at this. What I do usually is I just duplicate the same track because I will use it at some point. Let's delete what's in it. So here we have this. So we are going to take this, move it here. So nothing changes over here. We are going to make the stretch longer. So it goes all this way. Here we can get our roll back. We make long stretch like this. Then if we add multiply automation and grain size automation, one other thing I do a lot is to take like a short part of a snare, or do it with a kick for a change, and duplicate it on the other channel, consolidate it, and then fade it in or out depending on what you want to achieve. I will remove this here. Usually the normal fade out or in is not enough, so I will use the gain automation inside the clip. But it's important that you do the fade in or out to avoid clicks at the beginning of the sound. Let's do a few snares over here. Here I have prepared a little cut that works very well with this. Okay, so now I will loop this, show you something I do a lot, is to resample a part of audio that you want to destroy even more afterwards in audio. So I choose here this track as an input, record. You can play around a little bit with the settings while it's recording. Okay, so now I have this as a sample. I can use this as a layer source for what I've done over here, I duplicate all this and use some bits of what we have recorded to spice things up inside what I've already done. First, don't forget to deactivate the effects. What a naughty boy I am, all in the red. Well, that's pretty much it. Let's keep it simple for this one. Maybe if you want, I can go deeper into this kind of techniques, but yeah, just let me know in the comment or on Patreon. See you next time.